Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Dancers Podcast. Today I have Yankalle Filtser with me. He's a dancer, choreographer, and I'm very excited to have you here, Yankalle. Would you like to introduce yourself?
First of all, I'll just say that I love your podcast and I love your mission. I'm
Oh,
excited about what you do, and I'm glad to be part of it today. I feel like dance is like going to a restaurant and getting an amazing dish, and you're like, wow, it's delicious, and you have no idea what's going on behind the scene unless you do. And when you do, there is so much more in the kitchen, and I haven't heard anything about it like your podcast. So when I encountered that, I wrote you. Oh my God, I love it. Thank you for doing it. And I think it's so important. There are so many people who care about dance, who want to dance, who are part of this world. And it's good to actually talk about it. So, yeah, I'll start with that. And I'm Yankale, as you said. I'm a choreographer and dancer, and I teach dance. I grew up in Jerusalem to a complicated family. My parents are immigrants from Russia, and they were at the time ultra Orthodox, Hasidic. So the belief system and the culture was very specific. And they had four kids. I at the time, now I've got more siblings. At the time, we were four boys, and I'm the youngest of the four. And today, I've got eight more, so we're 12 from
wow.
another mother. Yeah.
Oh my God.
And so at the time, we were four boys and ultra Orthodox parents. And when I was very young, they got divorced in a quite a harsh way, very intense. And my mom left the religion. So I had two homes, one in Jerusalem and one in the territories in Judea. And my dad lived there in a religious settlement. So I was living in two completely different, very weirdly different homes. And I studied at a religious school. So I saw myself as religious as well, and also my brothers. And while having all of that, first of all, I got exposed to dance in a more social way because Hasidic people have their dance, which is quite cool because only when I joined the, let's call it Western secular society, I realized that we don't really have like a dance in a cultural sense. Maybe in a party, we kind of do something, but it's kind of unclear what exactly to do. And in the Hasidic, in the Jewish Orthodox society, there is like really, it's part of the culture. It's even part of the philosophy. And because there are different sects in Judaism, there are the ones who say you shouldn't dance too much, you shouldn't eat too much, you shouldn't do anything, just study the Bible all day and good luck. And there is the Hasidic ones, which my family is part of, which say, you know what, actually drinking alcohol and eating and singing and dancing, this is our way to worship God as well. So that was my first encounter with dancing, just in the synagogue, in bar mitzvahs, in like social, cultural, and it's obviously very non-professional and very fun. And while having this life, which was my kind of my main life, my mother, which wasn't religious, she sent me to her little studio in Jerusalem. It's a little studio that doesn't even exist anymore. And she was dancing with like kind of with a group of moms, like older women, and then there was the kids. So she sent me to the kids, and I don't know even know what style it is, honestly. It's just like kids jumping around and having fun. And when I got there, instinctively, I hid my identity. So I had like a kippah, the thing that shows that you're religious. I put it in my bag, and didn't show it to them. And then I started basically living a double life. So I had different kinds of dance in my life. I had the one in the synagogue, and I had the one in the studio.
You're
It
like
was
the
very
Jewish Hannah
different.
Montana.
I I'm not even, I don't even know Anna Montana, you see. It's part
Oh,
of the culture I
wow.
came from. I mean, I know the name, but I'm not sure what's the story. So yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming. And only girls also in the, in the synagogue it's only men, and in the studio it was only girls. So this was another gap that felt weird for me at the time. And in the beginning it felt okay because I was young. I was like 6. So I just didn't know what's going on in my life. And slowly, gradually, it became, the tension grew. There are some rules in the Jewish culture that I had to not obey in order to dance in the studio. So again, for kids, it doesn't really matter. Like, you're a child, you can touch girls and stuff. But then at some point around the bar mitzvah is where you should theoretically stop touching girls. You should stop. You shouldn't anyways do rehearsals and performances in Shabbat and Saturday, with the electronic music. It's like problematic. And I did do that because I don't know, I just loved it so much. I even had an episode where I left the studio, the dance studio, for like 2 years when I was like, I don't know, 10 or something. And after these 2 years that weren't very fun, I watched the show of the studio with my mom. And I remember myself crying and telling her, I want to go back to the studio and dance. And this was my first decision maybe I made in my life, because honestly, as a child, I was so overwhelmed with the situation I was in. It's like so many things: immigrant family and divorced, a lot of kids, no money. My mom had to work in like 2 jobs or 3, or I don't know how many. And we were alone at the house, 4 kids with like bunk beds in the same room. And it wasn't easy. And my way to cope was just that I didn't realize where I'm at. I didn't have like orientation. I was just like, ask me where I'm at, I don't know. Ask me how do you get somewhere. How old I am, I wasn't sure. Like I just didn't know anything about anything. And I feel like this decision to go back to dancing, that I decided, it wasn't like my mom sending me anymore, was the beginning of something in me growing into a place where I can make some decisions. I can know what my life is and shape it.
And what
And
age was that exactly?
let's think about it. I danced, it's like 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. When I was 9 and 10, I didn't dance. So around the age of 10, 11, I had this moment
That's
of,
very
okay, I
early.
want to go. Yeah, it's still not even, I wasn't aware when I made this decision. It was the beginning. Today I can look back and say, oh, that was the beginning of where it started
Ah,
growing into
I
where
see.
I can make decisions, yeah, myself.
So when was the moment that you were thinking of maybe it's something that I can do like in a bigger way, more like a career?
So I always knew that I want to create. I was like creative. I
Mhm.
used to write poems, kind of like about how my life is shitty. Like about the Holocaust and stuff. It took me, it was my way to start thinking
Wow.
about my own
That's
life.
dark.
Yeah, yeah, it was dark because my life was dark. My grandmother always tells me, I remember how when you were little, used to say that your parents divorcing is like a Holocaust for you. I'm like, whoa, that's dramatic.
Wow.
Apparently, that was my experience, I guess. So I used to paint. or to draw or something. So I knew I want to create, like that's what I was creative. I used to be like, I didn't know dance necessarily would become my thing. I also don't think it's my natural thing. There are the things that are natural for you that come naturally. I feel like words are more natural to me. Like if I would have to guess at the time, what would be my occupation today? Maybe a poetry or philosophy would make more sense. And I definitely don't write that much, and I'm not as good in writing anymore because I didn't do it. And I became just dance happened to become my thing because I studied it professionally, or not professionally. I just studied it. I spent the years in the studio. I also had some nice episodes professionally where when I was also kind of 11, but it's a little later, so maybe 12. I was already back in the studio dancing, and there is a cafe cabaret place that's a pop-up that used to be for many years in Jerusalem. There is a festival in the summer, and they build this beautiful structure that's a cafe, and you can get in and you order a cafe, and you also order a performance like you would, but then you kind of do it for everyone. And it's really cute. So there is a juggler, a magician, and dancer, like a belly dancer, all kinds of specific stuff. And my mom, because she had to make money in all kinds of ways, one of the things she did was working there as a waitress. And I went there once with her. And I didn't think twice. I just went on stage and started dancing randomly. And the day after, my mom got like a message, "Can you come again?" And then my thing was that every summer I would go to this festival and perform with them. And I became like the house dancer. I was 12, but then, and everyone else were grown ups. And it was really cool. I was like the kid who dances.
Wow, this
And
is so cute. I have to ask you, um, you were talking about having two different lives, and now you're telling me this story that when you were 12, you became this dancer in this summer show. Did your father know about all of this?
good question. Um, because I started dancing so early, my dad knew about it. It was kind of a fact.
Mhm.
We never talked about it. I rarely encountered people in his city. Later on, he got married, so he has more kids, and he moved to an ultra Orthodox city next to Jerusalem. So, like a very Orthodox place and community. And there, I do remember some people telling me, "Oh, you're dancing, no? Like, don't do it. It's not good. Like, you can dance, but not with girls. Like, it's not good." Kind of. I My dad didn't talk to me about it. It was like a taboo. We knew about it. He knew about it. We knew it's there. It was like the elephant in the room. We just didn't talk about it at all, ever. Um, until we're getting to the point where after my bar mitzvah, the tension grew too much in me. Before it's like a game. It's fine. You're a child. After it's a problem. And in order to still maintain my double life, I did start, I walked to rehearsals, for example, on Shabbat, so on Saturday. So on Saturday, you're not allowed to ride the car. So I did go to the rehearsal. I didn't touch the music or do anything myself. It's kind of gray, but it's not that gray. It's not okay if you're really Orthodox. And in every other field, I saw myself as completely all in on the belief. I believed. And of course, how could you not? I really grew in this fanatic, all in kind of way of thinking. And being afraid that if I'll turn on the light in Saturday, um, thunder will. thunderbolt, how do you call it, will strike me.
Thunder? Like,
Thunder.
yeah.
Yeah, like I'll die.
Wow.
Like this is the feeling. And then somehow I still maintained going to the studio, walking for hours. I was very tiny physically. Like I grew to my normal size quite late, only in high school. So before that, I was lower than the lowest girls as well, like the lowest around always. And I would walk for hours, like without no map, no, definitely no phone and nothing, and just like try to find my way. Um, Once I walked to the studio, I used to live in one side of Jerusalem. The studio was all the way in the other side. And I walked all the way, and then we got there, and I saw some friends, and the studio was closed, and we didn't understand what happens with the rehearsal. And they called, they did have phones, and they told them, oh no, actually the rehearsal is really close to my house. It's like the next neighborhood, a few minutes walk. And they're like, okay, not a big deal. One of the teachers came, like the manager of the studio came with a car to pick them up. They pick them up. There is one more spot for me in the car, and they're like, come on, because I didn't tell anybody that I'm religious. And I was like, it's okay. See you there. They're like, what do you mean? Just come with us. I was like, it's fine. I didn't know how to say that I can't
Wow.
drive with them. I think they realized it and they just drove. And I was like 2 hours late or something because I walked all the way back. And they were, I thought they're gonna be pissed because it's a thing in the dance world. You can't be late to a rehearsal. And when I arrived, they all clapped. They all were like, "Oh my God, you walked all the way! It's so sweet. We didn't know." And that was a nice moment where I didn't realize it yet, but through the years, I realized how much of the wall that I built between my dad's world and my mom's world at the time, or the secular world and the religious world, was in my mind. Like many people were like, amazing, you're religious. What's wrong with it? Like amazing. So the tension grew so much that one day it was a switch. A lot of people tell the same story that they left the religion, and it's a very gradual process. For me, there is the whole process that's obviously gradual. It took some years, but the moment was like 180. I went into the Jerusalem forest in Saturday. I went in, I was religious, and I went out and I decided I'm leaving. And I, it's hard to say what happened. It was a long time ago. I was less than 14. Um, I just thought about it deeply for the first time. I think that's, I was like, you know, I believe in it so deeply in the religion that obviously I'll stay in it. So why not asking myself some questions? Because there are those ideas that you shouldn't like ask. Not necessarily like shouldn't ask, but there are questions that are you shouldn't question the faith. And I was like, let's try once. And the moment I tried, everything didn't collapse completely yet. It's not that fast. But I was, what, I want to dance first of all. Like I actually want to dance. And there's no reason not to. And then all the rest didn't make sense as well. Like why? Why this and not any other religion? I just happened to to be in this one because I was born as part of it, but I could be born anywhere else. It doesn't make sense. So the same day I talked to my mom, I told her I want to go to the high school academy, which is used to be like the best and wasn't very far. And I didn't go there. And at the age of 14, it's a little late. So my friends in the studio already danced in this high school. And I couldn't, because obviously if you start ballet at 7:30 in the morning, you can't pray at 7:30 in the morning. It's either or. So I had to go through this radical change in order to go and dance fully and actually do it professionally. And the next time I saw my dad, I also told him. So dance per se wasn't a big deal because it was just a given since I was very young. But leaving the religion was a very big deal because it was like coming out. Like, Dad, I need to talk to you, going to a room, sitting and talking. So I decided to leave the religion. He's like losing it very quietly. Didn't like shout or anything, but he was really upset. Um, and he was like, okay, I at least don't like keep the kids, the little your siblings, kind of out of it. Meaning, since then I started another kind of double life where I hid the fact that I'm not religious from my younger siblings. So I have like 8 siblings, or at the time maybe less, but more and more through the years. And with all of them, I never told them that I left the religion. And it's funny, today you know, some years have passed. It's like 14. It's like almost 20 years ago. Jeez. So today, looking back, it's so much lighter because time heals everything. It's like, yeah, it's chill. At the time, it was very dramatic, obviously. And we had many years of repairing what started at that moment. And we didn't finish yet. But only in recent years, I realized how much of the challenges I have with my dad are not really related to religion. It's not really religion. And my religious siblings also have the same problems, or even more, because I was so afraid to lose him that, eventually I was more in touch with him somehow. And eventually it's more interpersonal relationship than actually ideology, always. But at the time, it felt very much like this moment, everything changed. And since then, we tried to heal somehow, and it was very challenging. Um,
I ask you for a moment, I want to take you a bit further in your story. So, when was the moment that you became a professional dancer?
so, yeah, if we go further in the story, I studied in the Jerusalem High School. I went to study in an after school in the Maslul Professional Dance Training Program. So it's 2 years of professional studies. And only after that, when all of my salary was from dance, I realized that I'm a dancer. Like before that, I didn't define myself as a dancer at all. I was like, what am I? Am I an artist at all? Am I? And I flirted with many ideas, and none of them were, I'm a dancer. I don't know why. I didn't like this thought of being a dancer. And then I just realized I have no choice but to admit, because that's the truth. Um, so it was only when I left working as a waiter and only worked as a dancer. It was first in freelance. Technically, my first job was when I was 12. I made a little money. I made tips only, no salary. Actually, one day when I was already like 17 and I actually needed money because we didn't have money. I had to pay for my studies myself. And after I finished high school, I also helped my mother with the rent. So I needed money. So then suddenly this little gag of, okay, I'm 12 and I'm dancing and it's fun and I'm getting few tips became a little like, wait, why does other people get paid and I'm not? So I left that and started dancing in the street. That was my other work, just with a hat, white paint on the face. I stood like a statue and I had a note saying, your money, your coin will make me dance, will allow me to dance, something like this, because it's like this money will go to my dancing studies, and also literally I started dancing. It was the hardest job I had in my life, definitely worse than anything else. For many reasons, you encounter so many weirdos. And they start touching you, undressing you. So many weird things happen
Wow.
there. And I'm like, I'm 17. I don't know what's going on. And I think the hardest part was that you're your own boss. You know, like you just stand there and you're like, I can go home right now. And a minute later, you're like, I can go home now as well. And there is nothing making me stay. And then you're like, okay, I'll stay because I need the money. And I actually made good salary, good money. Like it was quite good. It was not bad. And I could pay for my studies. I mean, half of it was a scholarship, which my mom is a genius because we didn't have money for anything. And our education was always quite good because she came to like good places and was like, we don't have money. Poor kids, Orthodox dad, please help us. And it's quite amazing to just ask how much you can get supported. So I really learned from her from that. And so I got half scholarship for the school, and half of it I just paid working in the street, and then like as a street dancer, and then as a waiter, which was terrible. I hated it so much. The day I got fired was my best day. I got fired because I didn't have time to work because I started already working as a freelance dancer. So if we're talking about my work, like in the professional world, after towards the end of my studies, already one of the choreographer that worked with us as a kind of teacher, as a choreographer, invited some of us for a project. First, it wasn't paid, and then it was paid a little, and then it was paid a little more. And then, gradually, I started growing out of the Maslul. I think it's a great place in that sense. Like the reason why I went there specifically, because I got accepted to a few similar places, like studying dance programs. One of them was in Jerusalem, close to where I used to live. So it made sense to go to the Jerusalem one. And I was already accepted to the second year directly. So it made sense to go there. And I had no idea in the world which one is better, what's going on in the professional world. I didn't know anything. So I just went to my teacher, one of them in the high school. I was like, what's better? Which one is better? She gave me like this answer, unclear answer of, the one in Tel Aviv opens up some doors, something that leaned somewhat towards Tel Aviv. I was like, okay, I have to move to Tel Aviv. It's funny to me how, in a younger age, at least for me, things were kind of easier in that sense. You're like, I made decisions so drastically. I'm like, okay, I need to move to Tel Aviv. Let's go. Which seemed at the time like a crazy move. Today, it makes a lot of sense, obviously. But like, how do I move to Tel Aviv? I don't have money. I don't have a place to stay. Um, and we found a good solution that I moved with my mom and helped her with the rent in Tel Aviv because she was anyways working on the line like between Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. So it made sense for her.
That's a very heavy load because you are responsible not only for yourself and for your career that is in the making, but also for your mother.
Yeah, it was just a fact. My mom is amazing. I love her so much. Um, she's participating in my current piece.
Really?
Yeah, she's
Wow.
she's great. And we
Wait,
just
I,
didn't
I'm
have.
wondering, were you
Mm.
like telling your story when you met people and when you introduced yourself in the Maslul? Did people know your story or it was kind of hidden? Because I know, in fact, that a lot of people who get scholarships are not really talking about it. And also, before recording this podcast, you told me a little bit about, like, we were talking about why it's so hard for artists to ask for help, for financial help? Can you unfold it a little bit?
Well, the feeling I had in high school, the high school academy where I studied, is a place of most people are quite wealthy. And also the studio I danced in Mechola is like it's a good studio in Jerusalem. And one of the girls in my group is the daughter of one of the richest people, I think, in Israel or something. Is a politician now. I remember we performed as a studio in her bat mitzvah, in her birthday. And it was a huge event. It wasn't like a birthday. It was an event, a festival. So for me, being around those people, I'm like, I used to try to go in a bus to my kindergarten. Like I didn't have a car, and I was definitely the only one around. At least it seemed like it. Then if people don't talk about it, you never know. Maybe there were some other people that maybe are similar, but the general vibe was like expensive cars, and the parents obviously take their kids to school with the sandwiches in the box and stuff. I made myself sandwich in a bag. And the gap makes you feel in that age, it doesn't feel obviously like oh, that's my story. I've got something to share. I got something to give. I got a perspective that they don't have. Today, I know that I might be somewhat happier than some people, maybe because I know that life can be shitty. So then if I've got a house and food. I went for my birthday to a restaurant, and it was a great restaurant with my partner. We had so much fun. Like, I'm fine. And appreciating it, it's a strength that I got mostly because I didn't have it. So today I know it's a blessing. At the time, you know, we all know kids, like in school, and you always feel a little different and you want to blend. So I definitely didn't want to brag about that. I mean, that's not something to brag about. And I didn't realize that's just what I am and fine, not even bragging, but like that's part of who I am. Uh, Today I feel very comfortable saying it. I mean, I'm not there as well anymore. Um, but I think it's obvious that I didn't feel comfortable. It's not obvious to me now when I think about it. Like, why not? But yeah, I agree. No one, I don't think people knew that I had scholarships. Also in the studio I danced in, it's paid. And at some point I was like, sorry, I have to leave because I don't have enough money. And then they were like, no, of course, stay. And I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. So I stayed for free. I remember hearing before I had this scholarship myself, I remember hearing about someone did told me, this he doesn't pay for being here. He got a scholarship. Because they don't have enough money, something like this. And then I was like, a year later, it was me. I was like, oh, that's so weird. Maybe people are talking about me, but I wouldn't say it.
Yeah. What would you say to someone who is in this kind of financial situation?
First of all, ask for help. People feel like amazing about giving, about being in this place where they can tell you, you know what? Let's find a way to make it happen. And it's not like they would always will, obviously. And I don't know if it's a cultural thing where I grew up, or I'm not sure. And yet, trying, you know, worst thing, it's a little embarrassing and a little hard to say. Uh, my experience was always amazing about asking the right people. I had someone who used to give me physiotherapy for free. He came to my high school to give a speech, like talk to us about whatever, a lecture or something. And then after that, I was like, wow, it's amazing what you do. And he was promoting himself also to give some treatments, and I was like, there is no way I'll be able to join. And I was like, oh no, there is no way money will be the reason why you won't. So another example, there are so many. And sometimes the answer is, okay, we can give you half. We can't give you everything. Or sorry, we can't. I also had that. And I'm like, okay, you can't. And I lost that opportunity. But why not asking? And I think also time really helps here. When you look at it later, you're like, it's weird that it's a good thing. It's hard for me to say, okay, I don't think I can define it as good. Wasn't good. I prefer to have had some money to have this money and to be able to pay and to have whatever, the luxury of whatever. But you know what? There's silver lining in everything. So at least remember that. I think it can help.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sure it gave you a lot of skills.
Yes.
And I want to talk about something else now because we were talking a little bit about your beginning of your career where you felt like you really wanted to be seen, you cared a lot about it. And then at some point you started creating yourself and working with other dancers and then seeing it from the other side. Can you tell us a little bit about this?
Of course. I mean, this very interesting period of my life where I start having this switch where I'm not a dancer and a choreographer. I'm already a choreographer and a dancer, which is a tiny difference, but it's a very big difference. And I can really notice how the perspective changes. Even not my perspective, even the people who work with me that suddenly treat me as a choreographer. And I'm like, I'm not used to, I create for 10 years, a little more. And in the beginning, it's like, yeah, you're a dancer. You're one of us. We're working together. We're friends. And now, slowly, especially if it's younger dancers, of course, I'm like, wow, I am literally a little older. And and then suddenly the perspective changes. You see a dancer talking to you and treating you as I used to treat choreographers. And it's weird. It's like, wait, I'm not I I wouldn't choose this position because it's like a position of power and it has so many weird things in it. And I actually really like the feeling of we are the next generation. We are the ones who create an alternative to the way we were treated. We want to create a scene where we're all like in this young vibe of we create together, we do fun stuff, we treat each other well. We know that having fun is an important part of the process, and we can't give up having fun. We can't just like work really hard and hate what we do. It doesn't make sense long term. Like, why would we? Um, so it's an interesting point where I'm at. I'm really trying to stay with the same perspective I have as a dancer. Like, I want to be treated well as a dancer, obviously, and to remember it and to keep it when I work with others. Sometimes I succeed more, sometimes less. I'm now in a very good point with a great cast that I love and have so much fun. I'm having a big uh, project coming up in 2 weeks. So I'm really like in the challenging moment of like so much production and stuff to do and exciting moment. And I'm lucky to have people with me who seem like they have fun in general. Like it's a positive process. And it's not always like this. Like there are different layers and I'm really trying my best. But it's interesting to become a choreographer yourself. It's like suddenly you're like, oh, it's really hard to make everything work really well. There's so many layers. I want to. Recently I had, that's maybe a story that can be good for that. I have one of the dancers in the project. She was like, "We need to talk." It's like, amazing, let's talk. We had coffee, and sat in the conversation, and she was like, I feel really good and everything is amazing. There is this one little thing where I just started to feel something maybe could grow theoretically, and it's really small at the moment. Let's talk about it. I was like, thank you so much. I appreciate it so much. It felt great. We had the best conversation and we feel really good after that. Because sometimes you're like, why is the choreographer, why isn't everything as good as I want it to be? And then sometimes the answer is, I just didn't communicate. Just didn't know. I don't know. It's just like it's somewhere. Sometimes the answer is it's impossible. It's also can also happen. There is not enough resources or whatever. But often it's just like communication. And I feel like in this moment I was inspired as a dancer. I was like, why don't I talk to choreographers? I feel like when something is not perfect, I'm just like, oh, okay, noted. This choreographer is a little annoying in that point. Okay. And I don't really say it. I don't know if I should always say it, but it was an inspiring moment for me, and it was very recent. It's like a week ago.
In your dancing career, how much were you missing that kind of communication
As a dancer,
as a dancer?
I have to admit I'm not that good in it. Like it depends. Okay, I have one choreographer I work with for many years. We're friends. We're actually friends. Like when I think about who my friends are, she's one of them. And just celebrated my birthday 2 days ago. I went to her place and she made brunch. It was amazing and fun. And so we're in such a good communication that I will tell her she knows everything. She knows everything that I dislike about her as a choreographer, let's say, in our position. It's a very rare and specific case. Usually, even recently, I do find myself not necessarily communicating, being like, I don't like it. I just won't work with this choreographer anymore. In the next project, when I'm offered the next project, I'm like, I'm sorry, we won't do it. I'm busy. And then I'm like, I could also say it, and maybe it could change. I don't know why I mean, I'm also quite busy with my project. And as I said, the choreographer part grew so much that I don't have the time. Unfortunately, I love dancing so much and I want to dance more. I just happened at the moment to be overwhelmed with work as a choreographer. So I'm okay with that. It's not like I really want the project and I won't take it because of a small thing, but I do find myself being with this, oh, a little resentment. I think I've got something to learn there still. And I also feel like it's easier for me today because I'm in a position of, I'm a little older. I'm fine, like choreographers don't pay me as much as I think I should get, and I'm okay with it. I get it, I know how much budget we all don't have. It's quite different than when dance was my main thing most of my life until a year ago. So really all of my career, where it felt more crucial. Like that's my life, you know? It's my it's the thing I'm gonna do for the next few months at least, if not years together. And oh my God, there is this thing and it's um I also feel like there is a big difference between freelance and companies. I think you talked more to people in this podcast, if I'm not mistaken, that are from companies in general. I a little anecdote, when I finished my studies in the Maslul, the professional studies, Nomi Perlov, which is a big figure in the local dancing, she was my teacher, and she told me, "You will not dance in a company." Something teachers like to be decisive about, and I got pissed. And what I think she meant is that I'm a freelancer in my heart, in my core. I'm a freelancer. I need my freedom. I need the kind of communication also that comes with being a freelancer. in a company it feels like a structure, like a machine. I don't know how to I don't know who to talk to. It's like I can talk to someone, but they'll be like, that's the company. Like you either take it or leave it. It's kind of the feeling I got when I danced in companies. But I did dance in companies and it made me feel great that I succeeded, and then I left. And and apparently only 2 years out of my whole career were in companies, in two different ones. So clearly, she was kind of right. Just the way she said it could be phrased a little better. Um, so I think there is some gap between companies. I had harder experience in companies in general. In both companies I danced in, it was very challenging. And then in projects, it's dynamic. You have this project, and then in the morning you rehearse with this one, but you know that in the afternoon you'll go to the next one and it's fine. Maybe the next one is different. And even in this one, it's gonna change. It's very dynamic. I love this dynamic vibe. That's me. I'm such a freelancer in my heart. I love freedom. I like work. I like working with dancers that are also free, creative, that feel like they have something to give beyond, oh, we're great machines that will all look the same. For me, working with choreographers, even dancers who create stuff, is something I'm very curious about. Part of my career as a creator was collaborating with young choreographers, people who are like, have their solos, their little things that I created. And then I join it all together into one piece, and it's part of my language and something I was excited about for some time in my career. um Creating a collage, like you would take a few pictures, and then by taking just pieces, making something that feels completely new and completely whole, not like different parts, but like a piece. Um so so yeah, freelance, I don't recommend freelance because there are also a lot of hard parts about freelance. Obviously, people want company to dance in a company because they want the structure and to get paid well and to have a salary, to get pension. Pension is very important. And you don't you have to pay your own pension when you're a freelancer. But I still, for people like me, it's definitely better. And then also the communication, I think, is easier because you work with a person. You don't work with a structure. Yeah.
Something I keep repeating is that you are responsible for your own career. Sometimes as dancers, we have this idea that we need to have a certain path, we need to dance in a certain company. And if it doesn't happen and you end up freelancing, even when you wanted to dance in a company, you're responsible for choosing your experience, for choosing who are the people that you work with, for choosing of how to communicate with them. And of course, some people are harder to communicate with, especially the old generation. I feel like we are changing it right now. What you said about how important it is for you to, first of all, have fun. Like, this is the main thing. And I see more and more choreographers that work this way. And what I keep telling the dancers that I work with is that trust your stomach. You feel something is wrong, you feel like someone you don't get along with. Trust what your stomach is telling you. Or sometimes you just learn in the hard way. Like, I don't know if you experienced this kind of feeling. I had this experience of working with someone that I wasn't quite sure, but that was the beginning of my freelance career. And it took me some time to understand that, okay, I shouldn't be here, but I really reached my limit of capacity for this project, for the people there.
Yeah, I feel like there is a weird gap between something that's very hard and it's amazing because we like when things are challenging, and I feel like I learned the most. Like I said that my time in a company was really hard. one of those companies, the Bacheva Ensemble, for me was one of the best learning experiences. And I've got a few others experiences in my career where I can say it's the hardest and it's the best one in terms of it opened doors, it taught me so much, it inspired me, it opened up my whole world, and it was the worst in terms of it was really hard, but it's great. And then it can break you and make you not want to dance anymore. And it's not worth it at all. And the difference is really tiny, and it's about your experience at the moment. I feel like I'm very lucky and blessed to encounter in my career experiences that are tough, but great. Eventually I'm glad I did it. Maybe it's also again related to the fact that I wasn't in the same place for many years. So I didn't get to my edge. It was really challenging, but then a year later I'm somewhere else and it's okay, it's fine. So it was digestible. I didn't stay for very long where it was too hard. I did stay for some time when it was hard, and I learned a lot. So yeah, I do feel like projects where I'm having a lots of fun are not necessarily the ones that teach me the most, even though I still learn and it's great. There is this game where, like when I work with dancers, I'm okay with the fact that they will learn a little less if it means that we're having fun, because we're still learning a lot, obviously. And there is always so much inspiration and there is always something to learn. But as a dancer, I did like having those projects as well, projects that are a little annoying. It's like the choreographer is kind of a teacher as well. They're not like only collaborator. Um, with that being said, I feel like what you're saying about listening to your gut is the most important in the world, obviously. And I feel like it's really not in our culture as dancers to feel that we have agency. I don't know why. I feel like we grew up with this feeling of, I just want this one choreographer to look at me and to love me and to take me, and then I'll be the best dancer. Yeah. And it's almost like, it feels like ballet, old school, and we're not even in ballet. I don't know how it is in ballet, but it's like we're creating stuff. It's not only sports, it's not like executing. It's interesting. I feel like when you talk to dancers, sometimes there is a sense of we're almost like not exactly artists, because we're not always thinking about what is it that we want to do and create. Unless, there are many dancers who are creating per se and choreographers, and yet I feel like it's not only about that. You don't have to be a choreographer to create something. And again, it goes back to this freelance thing. I feel like in the freelance world, it's very common to see dancers as creative collaborators. And for me, choosing a cast for a piece is the most important moment in the creation process, because that's everything you have. I can bring a nice idea. It's like ideas, there are many ideas in the world. We don't need ideas. We need to actually try those ideas. And then for people who do it are the dancers. It's so exciting to have dancers who have this excitement and fire with you. That's my dream. I can bear, all kinds of stuff if we got the fire. Like, I don't care so much about technique and whatever. Like, it's nice to have. But it's not the thing. If I feel a person has fire of like, oh, I actually love it. It's actually fun. And talking about fun, I feel like that's where fun is important. I care about this piece. I'm curious about it. I'm thinking about it at home. I always had this thing as a dancer that choreographers love, and I feel like was a good strategy that I found through my career, where I went home and we talked about something, about a reference, about a film. I would be look up the film and not even watch the whole film and spend my whole life around it. I didn't care about dance that much ever. I'm not like a nerd. I'm a nerd for other stuff, actually, if anything. But a few minutes being like, oh, I watched this thing. I get it a little more. I understand. I watched this scene. I found it on YouTube for free. Um, I feel like this extra little thing is part of the agency we're talking about, beyond obviously choosing your projects. I also don't know why we have this anxiety when we don't have anything for a week. We're like, oh my God, it's terrible. We have to find something. And then you can say yes to something you don't like. And then you're really busy with this something you don't like. And then you get a better offer and you can't take it because you're already occupied. And it's like, it's fine. We don't earn enough money per hour to get crazy about it, to get like too caught up with it. It's not that much. We can do whatever we love and then care about it and have fun and nourish it, work with people that we like. Yeah, hopefully.
What is something that you used to judge about choreographers and now you experience it yourself, that you like completely
Wow,
understand today?
that's a beautiful question. I feel like maybe I have better answer. I'll think about it. The first thing that comes into mind is the financial part. I feel like as a choreographer, I really understand way more the amount of money that goes for every rehearsal, for every second is so different than anything in my personal life, than my personal expenses. It's just crazy. And I'm like, how come I didn't realize? I mean, I just think I didn't care about it, which is fine. I don't think dancers need necessarily to care that much about the choreographer's financial struggle. I do think about it. I'm like, wow, you just need to take the amount that you get per hour times the amount of dancers in the room times the hours of rehearsal. And you're like, that's one rehearsal before I even took into account the studio rent and the producer that supported it and the so I just when you experience it is different than just thinking about it. I realize how much shit you need to go through for every little change, for every and as a dancer, which I think is okay. I don't think dancers should care about it. It's just interesting for me that I didn't get it at all. And I was like, whatever. Yeah, that's a very big gap.
But here I'm wondering because, in my opinion, I don't think the dancers should be ever involved in the financial situation of the company or the choreographer. Like they come, they do their job. So I wonder what is your opinion about this? Because sometimes when we work with dancers and we have a lot of fun and we create a connection, it feels very close. And then some choreographers feel like they can share about it. They like the dancers are partner also in the financial side, which I completely disagree with. But I'm curious to hear, how do you experience it as a choreographer?
So in general, I agree that the dancer shouldn't care. It's fine. It's fine that I'll go through whatever with the financials, and it's my problem. And it's not the dancers. It's not something that the dancer should bear, should carry, for sure. I did learn, and actually, I'm having a very good experience with it at the moment because I feel like it really depends on the people and the moment. I learned that just saying a little bit, sharing somewhat about my struggle, not really like the numbers but like even more the emotional part. I think it's good, at least for me, because it's a project I'm working on for the last years. And last years we had the same piece with the different cast. And they only after the project, I had the worst time in terms of production. The production was hard on me. I was so nervous and so stressed that months after that, I still had to recover. physically. I started to have like physical even problems with like tension, like locking the jaw. Crazy. I got crazy. It was terrible. I had so much fun. As we said, sometimes hard and great come together. It was so challenging, and it's the project I'm most proud of. So I would do it again. Hopefully better and with a little less stress, but yeah, that was my experience. And the dancers didn't know about it at all. Like after that, they were like, "Oh, you looked quite chill." And I'm like, "No, I just tried to keep you out of it, to keep you safe." And actually, I realized and I learned from it that just for them to know that I'm going through stuff, and it's a little hard for me, keeping them safe. They don't need to solve my problems. I feel like is healthy at the moment. When they know where I'm at, they know that I'm stressed. It's already good, that the person is stressed, you're receiving them a little differently. So it's part of communicating. I do believe that, at least with this project at the moment, it's a healthy thing that I'm trying to take a few minutes out of the rehearsal for them to say where they're at, for them to know where I'm at, and being like, "Oh my God, I'm having a moment with this. Now let's rehearse and it's fine." I think it is healthy. Yeah.
Right. Has your definition of success changed?
I'm having a big question around what success is. It's such a big question for me because I have no idea what it is. Like, I really want to be successful and I don't know what it is that I want. I have no idea. And I'm really struggling with it. I'm working really hard for something. You know, I feel like some of it is obvious when I reach people and move them, and they come to a show and feel something and go out and they're like, "I actually experienced something." I feel like it's a clear measurement for success. I can't measure it, I can't know, but theoretically, I know what it is. I want this to happen with as many people as possible, with as much emotional depth as possible. So it's like two directions. But what do I actually want? It's still a little unclear for me. Like I'm working really hard to be out there. It's kind of general. I love that my shows are sold out. I love it. It's such a good feeling. I'm like, yes, I'm successful. Yeah, I mean, it's good. I don't know. I don't know what does it give me long term. I'm not sure. So did it change? Yes, because in the beginning I was like, I want to be the best, kind of in a more direct way. And today I'm more, the question grows throughout the years. I still have the same wish. I'm just more and more aware of the fact that I'm not sure what it is exactly. And like, do I just want to be in the center of attention? Like how much of it is ego and something that won't necessarily even help me? And how much of it is my mission? I'm sure my mission, my real, real true mission that I'm excited about and I'm sure is great for me is there. There is no question about it. Like I'm doing what I love and I'm already winning big time. Every day I'm going to work. And yet, okay, so this is already a success. The fact that I don't need to work as a waiter. I wish it for everyone, unless you love it for some reason. I hated it. I wish that you would do what you love and that will be your job. Like this is already success for me. And then I keep on working. I want to grow. I want it to be in bigger stages. Why do I want it? What does it mean exactly? I'm not sure. So I don't have an answer.
I think out of everything you said, something that came up very strong to me, which I truly believe in, is that in the end of the day, we're not looking for the great achievements, but we're looking for a feeling. And all of these things that you like mark for yourself as a goal, they create some kind of feeling inside of you. And this is the success that you're looking for right now. Right now, it's a little bit more ambient because you're more open for it to happen in different ways, but you're aiming for a certain feeling inside of you. And you know that you can get it from different aspects of your career and achieving.
Yeah, if I look at the true layer a little deeper, I feel like I have this feeling in me anyways, no matter what I do. We can call it love or something big, like
I
this
love it. I
this
love love.
existence. We love love. And to be the love that we are, it's kind of there is this place of, you know what, I want to share it as well. Why not? And be generous about it and therefore do all the big stuff that seem like success. Yeah. I do have other layers of success for me. Like I know that I'll feel more like my next goal in a more simple layer is just I want to have more production support, more like in the real world, I want to have way more structure around me that supports me so it will be easier for me to create and I won't feel like I'm losing my health and my whatever for every piece that I do. And I think I will get there. I'm not sure at all. I'm quite far, not that far. It will get somehow a magic will happen. I'm sure about it. I need this. I need this miracle.
Beautiful. Okay, we are about to wrap it up. I wanted to ask you, what would you tell yourself when you were, let's say, 17, 18, just starting to reach the professional world?
I don't know if it would be good for this child because maybe then I wouldn't do what I did and go through everything that I did go through. But I think that just seeing me today, back then, would seem like magic. I wouldn't even need to say anything, just like being like, oh, this is the person you're gonna become would be amazing because it was my dream to get to where I'm at today. I still didn't fully, I think I will never fully get to whatever. Just being a dancer and creating and loving what I do and having so much fun and having amazing people around me that support it and that are excited about it as well. If I could just see myself when I was younger, I'd be like, ah, which I don't know if it's good. Maybe it would make
I
me
think it's
become
incredible.
something else.
It's incredible. What would you say to dancers in general in the beginning of their careers? They still don't know how this industry is working, what they should do, or yeah.
It comes back to what we were talking before, that the agency that we have, it's hard to remember how much agency you have as a dancer. In my career, I was very passive for a big part of it. I had a vague dream and I let life lead me towards, I knew the direction and I let opportunities come to me. I feel like it's really okay to also say, I want this. This doesn't mean a specific name, a specific company. It means a specific thing for you. And then being like, how do I create it? Maybe no one offered me a job at all. Does it mean I cannot dance? It doesn't have anything to do with me dancing. Wait, what can I do and how can I dance? There are so many ways. I know as a creator that if someone approaches me and says, something, I have a creative idea of something to do, many times I will say no because time is scarce. But, maybe it's very, very exciting to encounter people who have new ideas, and maybe it will turn on something. So first of all, try a lot and know that it's fine to get a no, because you don't need the no's. It's fine. Like, we don't care about the no's. We care about the few yeses. And obviously, everyone who succeeds in life, whatever you think about a star, a pop star that you love, they got obviously a lot of no's. If you see a documentary about any person that you love, the whole story is about failures. Um, so first of all, don't get too caught up in that, and then be active if you want. Like, if you're passive and everything comes to you, then whatever, why not? But think, I'm sure that if I would be more active, I would get quicker to places that I want and have way less this project and that project and another thing, because I'm not sure, because I want work, because fine. You're like, fine, I'm fine with it, but do you want it? What do you want? So if you do know that you want it, which is not obvious, and if you don't want it, go make money somewhere. It's also good. You don't have to dance. Like, I feel like dance is great for fun. Please, everybody dance. Everybody has to dance, but as a career, it's like, do it only if you know that you want it, and then be active. Be like, I want, my wish, let's say, is to dance every day for a few hours and be part of a creative thing. There are so many ways to do it. You can find a friend that wants the same thing and you can create something together. Maybe you don't care about creating, but your friend does. Maybe, let's have a completely different example. Maybe you have lots of money and you don't have, you're very unsuccessful in other ways. You're like, not, I don't know, you just started out and you don't really know how to dance, but you got a lot of money. Okay, you can take a choreographer and be like, now you create something for me and you get paid for it. Whatever. You don't have money, but you have time. How can you use this time to make it into something? There are so many ways. Maybe you're good in producing as well as being a dancer. Maybe you can offer your support in some ways and build something, and the choreographers, the creators will want it as well. My dream is to have people who are good in production around me and to support them because they will support me. There's so many ways to think about it that are a little more creative. You can create a dance piece with your mom. Like, you don't have, you can do stuff that are weird and interesting and fun. Beyond that, yes, I got accepted to this company. It's great.
This was so amazing to hear. I also think, I truly believe in this, that the people who end up successful are the people that do. They just do. They don't do in order to get to this fame, but they do because they have the urge inside of them. Maybe they know they want to get somewhere, but they keep moving because they're not dependent on getting the good grade, getting someone's confirmation. Of course, it's nice to have it, but we do because there's an engine inside of us that is so warm and is so alive that wants to create.
Oh, it's such a good point. And also, people who are successful, or at least seem to you like they're successful, and you're like, oh my God, I want to be like them. I don't think they feel that successful. They struggle with this and that. And so if you struggle, be like, oh, I'm actually in the right place. And I think it's a great point what you just said. Like, I'm 100% with you.
Yankalle, thank you so much for this conversation. It was super interesting to hear you, to hear your story, and I think there were such meaningful things in this conversation. So thank you for being here.
Thank you, Maya, for everything that you do. I'll continue, keep on following and listening. And I hope that your listeners will come back as well.
And guys, with that being said, if you like this episode, please like it, share it. We want it to get to more people. Okay, I have a mission here. I want to help as many dance artists as possible. these are the conversations that I felt that I needed to hear when I was doing my journey into dancing. So I'm doing this that you will know that everyone is going through the same things. Okay, you're not alone. You're not the only one experiencing the struggling. And if you have any questions, I'm always here for you. If you want to ask something specifically that you want me to talk about in here, just send a message. Okay.
I want to say the same. If you want to reach out on Instagram, Yankalle, 2 L's, I'm here as well. So any weird question that you have. Thank you, Maya.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And I'll see you in the next episode. Ciao, guys.